Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. It's actually wild to think about how a single tiny grammatical mistake can literally ruin a family's vacation. Just picture it. A tourist completely lost in a strange city because of a confusing street direction, or a family totally stranded at a station because they misunderstood a train schedule. Mastering basic English grammar in this industry is definitely not just about passing some proficiency test. It's about saving a tourist vacation and massively boosting your own confidence as a professional. So today, we're going to treat these language pillars as practical tools and a professional tool belt, rather than dry, boring academic rules. Quick agenda check before we jump in. We'll start with the Tourism English Toolkit, move on to navigating the map, then cover weather and leisure strategies, and we'll wrap up with mastering schedules.
All right, Section 1, the Tourism English Toolkit, and how we can use it to avoid complete communication chaos.
Okay, here is a fantastic puzzle to kick things off. How do you tell a tourist that a train leaves tomorrow without actually using the future tense? Sounds totally counterintuitive, doesn't it? Almost like a trick question. But by the end of our time together, the mechanics behind solving this exact puzzle are going to feel completely second nature to you. Let's jump right into Section 2, Navigating the Map, which is Pillar A of our toolkit. The absolute core of this tool is something called the imperative of movement. If you think about giving directions, it's really just a simple math formula. We're taking a movement verb, which gives us the physical action, and we're combining it with a directional object, which gives us the spatial path. And the secret ingredient here? We do this completely without a subject pronoun. It's direct, it's punchy, and it leaves absolutely zero room for misunderstanding.
Now look at how perfectly movement verbs pair with prepositions of direction. When you combine a specific action, like cross or go past, with a spatial path, like through or up, you're essentially downloading a perfect 3D map right into the listener's brain. Saying walk along the river or go through the park paints this instant vivid picture. It's a literal game changer for someone trying to navigate a city they've never been to before. But there is a classic amateur trap you definitely want to avoid here. Look at the incorrect phrasing. You go straight on and then you turn left. Now compare that to the slick, professional version. Go straight on and then turn left. See the difference? Adding the word you just clutters up the instruction. It makes it sound way more like a casual observation than a clear direction, and honestly, it just sounds far less professional. The rule of thumb, just give the verb. Moving right along to Section 3, Weather and Leisure Strategies. This is Pillar B.
As a tourism pro, you've got to remember you aren't just a meteorologist reading a weather report. You are an experience curator. To do this seamlessly, we break things down into two distinct grammatical blueprints. First, when we're describing a general state, we use the simple formula, it is, plus a weather adjective. Think, it is sunny. Second, when describing an active, ongoing event that's literally happening right outside the window, we use it is plus a continuous verb ending in ing, like it is raining. It's a really subtle shift from an adjective to an active verb, but it is absolutely crucial for crystal clear communication.
So, what does this look like in the real world? Well, something like this. It is very sunny and hot today, so I recommend visiting the coastal paths. Notice how a simple, grammatically perfect sentence just instantly transforms into top-tier customer service? You establish the environment, sunny and hot, and you immediately use the word so to pivot directly into a strategic recommendation. If it were raining out, you'd seamlessly pivot and suggest checking out that new indoor art gallery instead. There is a really dangerous trap here, though, and it usually comes from directly translating from other languages. Check out this incorrect phrasing. It has very windy and rain today. We see this all the time when a speaker's native language uses the verb to have for weather. True professionals always launch with that impersonal placeholder structure, it is. Just like in the correct version, it is very windy and it is raining today. Remember, we never ever use have or has to describe the sky.
All right, Section 4, Mastering Schedules, Pillar C. This is where we finally solve that puzzle regarding future events we talked about earlier.
Okay, so the absolute key takeaway here is this. In the tourism industry, official fixed schedules completely override standard future tense rules. We use the present simple tense when an action is governed by a strict, repetitive, or official timetable. Listen, it literally does not matter if that train leaves 12 hours from now, tomorrow morning, because it sits on a public schedule, we use the present tense. Isn't that wild? The industry rule completely trumps standard future grammar.
Let's quickly run through the specific things that trigger this exact timetable rule. Basically, you apply this to all transport amenities.
trains, flights, cruise ferries, shuttle buses, the whole shebang. You also apply it to establishment operating hours, museums, monument zones, ruins, and galleries. Really, any entity operating on a printed, public schedule falls perfectly under this rule.
To make sure we're totally clear on how this works in real life, let's compare the two. An official timetable, which is fixed by an institution, uses the present simple. For instance, the train leaves at 8:30 a.m. But a personal future plan, because it's a private arrangement made between individuals, uses the present continuous. So you'd say, I am meeting the guide tomorrow at noon. Make sense? The train operates on a public rule, while your meeting operates on a personal itinerary.
And that brings us to our final trapdoor. It's so incredibly tempting to use the future helper will, like the museum will open at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, because hey, the event technically is happening tomorrow. But professionals confidently stick to the present simple and say opens because of that governed timetable rule. It's a small tweak, but a massive level up in fluency.
Well, that officially wraps up our toolkit, but it does leave us with one really fascinating final thought to chew on. How exactly does mastering these simple blueprints change the power dynamic between you and your guests? Because, as we've seen, these aren't just dry, boring rules. They are empowering tools for elite hospitality. When you give flawless directions, pivot your recommendations perfectly based on the weather, and command schedules with absolute authority, you aren't just speaking English. You are projecting absolute confidence. You're taking control of the interaction and guaranteeing an incredible experience for that visitor. So how will you use this toolkit to transform yourself from an everyday information desk worker into an indispensable local expert?